In a dimly lit Parisian cafe, a young man sits alone, his hands trembling around a cup of coffee. He is paralyzed by the awareness that every choice he makes or avoids will define who he becomes. This scene, immortalized in Jean-Paul Sartre's novel Nausea, captures the essence of his existentialism. Life is not a pre-written script, but a blank page we are condemned to fill. For Sartre, the most terrifying and liberating truth is that we are free, radically, inescapably free. No God, no tradition, no societal role can absolve us of the responsibility to choose who we are. Man is condemned to be free, Sartre wrote. Condemned because he did not create himself, yet is nevertheless at liberty, and from the moment he is thrown into this world, he is responsible for everything he does. This freedom is not a gift. It is a burden, a weight that crushes those who refuse to bear it, and a forge that shapes those who do. To let others define you, Sartre argued, is to live in bad faith, a lie that denies the very core of human existence. We are what we choose to be. Sartre's philosophy begins with a simple but revolutionary idea. Existence precedes essence. Unlike a knife, which is crafted with the essence of cutting built into its design, humans are not born with a predetermined purpose. We exist first, and through our choices, we create our essence. There is no divine blueprint, no cosmic destiny, no inherent meaning waiting to be uncovered. There is only the raw fact of existence and the freedom to make it meaningful. This concept shatters the illusions we cling to for comfort. Religions, political ideologies, even scientific determinism are, in Sartre's view, attempts to escape the anguish of freedom. They offer pre-packaged essences. You are a believer, you are a citizen, you are a product of your genes. But these labels are lies. To accept them uncritically is to live in bad faith, a term Sartre coined to describe the self-deception of those who pretend they are not free. Consider the waiter in Being and Nothingness, who performs his role with exaggerated precision, as if his identity is inseparable from his job. Sartre argues that the waiter is lying to himself. He could quit, rebel, or reinvent himself, but he chooses to act as if his role is fixed. In doing so, he surrenders his freedom to societal expectations. Radical freedom is the cornerstone of Sartrean philosophy. It means that every moment of our lives is a crossroads. Will you stay in a soul-crushing job? Will you remain in a loveless marriage? Will you conform to your family's expectations? Sartre's answer is uncompromising. You choose. Not choosing is still a choice to let others choose for you. This freedom is not empowering in the way self-help gurus promise. It is not a mantra to be chanted, but a storm to be weathered. Sartre called the awareness of this freedom angst, an existential dizziness that arises when we confront the abyss of our possibilities. In Nausea, the protagonist, Antoine Roquentin, experiences this as a visceral disgust. Objects around him lose their familiarity. Existence itself feels arbitrary and suffocating. Roquentin's nausea is the price of lucidity, the realization that nothing must be, and therefore everything can be. Yet within this terror lies liberation. To embrace radical freedom is to recognize that even in chains, we are free. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, an existential psychologist, echoed this in Man's Search for Meaning. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. bad faith, the denial of our freedom in the face of inconvenient or unsettling truths, takes many forms. The addict who claims, "I can't quit," is stronger than me, denies their freedom to seek help. The nationalist who insists, "I hate them because my father hated them," denies their freedom to question. Even the romantic who says, "I'm nothing without you," denies their freedom to exist independently. Authenticity, by contrast, is the courage to own one's freedom. It means staring into the void of existence and declaring, "I will decide what matters." For Sartre, authenticity is not about being true to yourself in a cliched sense. It is about recognizing that the self is not a fixed entity, but a work in progress. You are not a noun, but a verb. In No Exit, Sartre's play about three damned souls trapped in a room, hell is not other people. It is the refusal to take responsibility for their choices. Garcin, a coward who fled wartime duty, spends eternity blaming others for his fate. "I died too soon," he whines. "I didn't have time to act." But Sartre's message is clear. Garcin chose cowardice. His essence was not determined by his death. It was forged by his choices in life. Freedom is inseparable from responsibility. To choose is to accept that your actions ripple outward, shaping not only your own life, but the world. Sartre called this existential commitment, the understanding that even inaction has consequences. This responsibility is crushing. It is easier to blame genetics, "I'm just lazy," society, "the system made me do it," or trauma, "my past defines me." But Sartre dismisses these as excuses. In his essay, Existentialism is a Humanism, he writes, "Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. You are not born a hero or a villain. You become one through your choices." The political implications are profound. Sartre believed that existential freedom demands social engagement. To ignore injustice is to choose complicity. During the Algerian War, he risked his life condemning French colonialism, arguing that neutrality in the face of oppression is itself a form of violence. Sartre's philosophy is often criticized as isolating, a celebration of individualism at the expense of community. But this misreads his intent. While we are free to define ourselves, we do so in a world thick with others. Every choice implicates those around us. Take love. Sartre rejected the notion of soulmates or destined partners. Love, he argued, is a collision of freedoms. To love authentically is not to possess or idolize another, but to support their freedom while asserting your own. It is a dance of mutual creation, fraught with conflict and renewal. This tension between autonomy and connection is central to Sartre's humanism. In Existentialism is a Humanism, he writes, "When we say that man chooses himself, we mean that every one of us must choose himself. But by that, we also mean that in choosing himself, he chooses all men." To choose honesty is to affirm honesty as a value for humanity. To choose cruelty is to endorse cruelty. How does one live authentically in a world devoid of inherent meaning? Sartre offers no formulas, only principles. Embrace anguish, he says. The dizziness of freedom is not a flaw, but a feature of consciousness. To feel it is to be awake. Reject bad faith. Refuse the comfort of roles, labels, and determinisms. You are not your job, your past, or your DNA. Commit. Pour yourself into projects, relationships, and causes. Meaning is not found. It is made. Accept responsibility. Every choice is a brick in the edifice of your essence. Build with intention. In Nausea, Roquentin finds fleeting solace in art. a jazz record that hints at a beauty beyond the absurdity of existence. For Sartre, this is not an escape, but a model. The artist, like the existential hero, creates meaning ex nihilo. Sartre's existentialism does not promise happiness. It promises something rarer, integrity. To never let others define you is to stare into the abyss and refuse to blink. It is to accept that life is a shipwreck, but to dance on the deck anyway. In the end, we are all like the man in the cafe, trembling, uncertain, but free. The coffee grows cold. The choice awaits. What will you become? As Sartre wrote, man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. The page is blank. The pen is in your hand.